Harry, I was thinking, such a big, important part of business and a lot of our conversations with, what it is that we do, but so much um, of what we do is talking to people about obviously their messaging, right? Like that is a major part of building your business. But if you start breaking that down, it's the messaging of who you're speaking to. And when you start talking about who you're speaking to, that's when you start falling into those conversations of niche and or niche. I don't know. People pronounce it differently. Do you pronounce it niche or niche?
Niche.
Yeah, me too. So we've got niche there. And then how do you sell? And we've had conversations on this. How do you sell to people in your niche without feeling, sleazy or salesy? And I've been doing a lot of work around these ideas, right? Of messaging and marketing, obviously, with Story Brand, but also kind of looking into the energetics of messaging and marketing, and then niche, who we're speaking to, what that looks like, and then how do you do like ethical sales, like where you feel really good about what you are doing and and being in business. And I've got so many thoughts about all of these. So I would love for us to jump into a conversation. And during that conversation, I may periodically just talk to you about human design and how that also plays a role in this and maybe your specific human design.
Yeah. Exciting because I mean, human design obviously is so fascinating. I think, our listeners will probably a lot of people, if they're like myself, maybe not have they've probably never heard of human design. But this will be a great conversation to introduce human design and how, it plays into your business. So yeah, I'm just excited to get jumping in here. But that was, yes, I mean, when you're talking about nation, I think for me personally, it has helped me so much better in terms of my messaging because my messaging at the very, very start of my business was all over the place. I didn't know there was even such thing as messaging. It
Yeah.
never occurred to me that you need to be communicating really, really clearly, in your marketing to, you know, speak to your target audience to let them know how your product or service can make their life better. I didn't even know that was really such a thing because again, I don't have business experience, So what I realized then once I started learning about messaging is for me personally, again, nation down has really helped me get clearer so that I know
Yeah.
there's a specific demographic or an avatar profile person that I'm speaking to. I can just be really, really clear and get to the point easier than targeting everyone. So I personally think it's good to have a niche. And did you see the video Donald Miller put up the other day? It was on social media and it was just a quick clip. And he was
No.
talking about the guy he was talking to in the podcast. I can't remember his name, but he said, try and guess what this guy does. And it was just a guy, and the name of his business was Fitness Founders or something like that. Anyway, and he asked Donald, he says, "Do you know what this guy does?" Just by the name, and he was able to say, "Oh, is he targeting the founders of companies, and he's trying to bring fitness and health into their lives or something like that." Anyway, but he was bang on. He was absolutely bang on with what this guy done, and that showed you the power. And he says now that's a very, very small and specific niche of people that
Yeah.
he's talking to. This guy is only targeting founders of organizations and businesses. But
Right.
those founders then are obviously going to go, oh, I tick that box because I'm a founder and whatever. So that he was actually talking about, it's just funny that he was talking about in that clip, the power of nation down, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that because I don't know. I mean, you probably didn't have this drama, but I had so much niche drama. I never knew about niche. Same. I mean, when I started my business, I walked right into a niche. Like I decided that I was a fitness coach and I had gone through all kinds of training and became like I walked into being self-employed, I guess, as being a CrossFit coach. I'd done all kinds of CrossFit certification and classes and all sorts of things. And so that was kind of decided for me. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have any drama around it. I knew I was into fitness and I was helping people be athletes. And that meant athletes of, all stages, but whatever. And then as the years went on and my coaching changed, things shifted, I still kind of knew where I was and what I was serving because I was stepping into these new places. But when I became a life coach, so 2016, that's when stuff started shifting for me. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, you're a life coach, you help people with their lives. Like, and I had a fitness background. So and food background. So I'm thinking, oh, I help people with their lives around fitness and food. And so I didn't think about it. But people would say, yeah, but keep going with that. Who do you like niche down even more than that? I'm like, what's going on? Like I just didn't get it. I felt a lot of resistance around it. And then moving into more like strict life coaching of not having that food or fitness focus, let's say, and just helping people with general life coaching. It was kind of like, the drama around having to pick somebody that I'm speaking to or whatever it is. I I just did not want to be put into a box. I did not understand the whole idea. And what's funny to me now is when I look at it, and the more I've learned about, let's say, human design, right? The more I've learned about, the more it's become clear to me that the people I'm speaking to are also the people that struggle with those things because they don't want to be put in the box. They don't want to be simplified. They have so many interests in life. They're multi-passionate. They've got all these ideas of what they want to bring to business and they want to do the same. And it's like, "Oh, I am my niche. My niche is me. My niche, my people that I'm speaking to energetically are people that mirror me. And I don't need to speak to everybody. Like what I'm doing, I need to speak to people that are okay with getting out there and making mistakes and trying things and failing forward and getting up and trying again and being willing to do like being willing to take action even when you don't know and looking at like fear in the face and being like, okay, well, let's see what happens anyway. Like those those are my people. I am my niche
Mhm.
and I know how to speak to me. And that was a huge realization for me. Now, how do you take that information and put it into business? Well, there are people out there that are like me that are in business.
Mhm.
And so being able to speak to people that I know that are like me gives me a face to who I'm speaking to, gives me an idea of energetics of how I am out in the world. And when I'm not speaking to everybody and I am speaking to people that are like me, I realize I just need a small sliver of those people to come into my world, to know who I am. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like there's now 8 billion people on the planet, right? Or we're close to it. We're close to that. And this idea when we get into business is that we need to speak to the people. Like we're a big brand. Like I'm all of a sudden Coca-Cola
Yeah.
coming out there or Adidas.
Adidas. I know. See, this is the thing with the niche, and I'm like you. I at the start, because I was obviously teaching mindset, and I was like, no, I'm not niching down because everyone needs a mindset. Everyone needs it. But the thing is, we have to realize, but there's a million other mindset coaches out there, and that's
Yeah.
why niching is important then because it's helping you as a business owner to stand out from the crowd. And then also because, people, just human beings, love to identify. We're really obsessed with our identities. So we love to
Yeah,
identify with something, as in my anxiety or my stress levels or myself as a business owner,
yeah,
an overworked business owner, or underpaid business owner. We just love to go, oh yeah, that's the box I fit into, even though we probably do really resent being put in a box. But we still do like to find maybe other people who are struggling with the issues that we have, so that we can find that, solace within a community, or that support within a community, and also a coach who could specialize in that problem that we're having. So that's where niching is really, really important then, because it's
absolutely.
speaking to the person, so the person can go, oh, so she's not just a mindset coach, but she's a mindset coach that helps overwhelmed business owners, work less hours and spend more time with their family, but still earn more. That's really, really
Yeah,
big, because there's a lot of business owners that actually have that problem, instead of just saying a mindset course, because that could be anything, and it doesn't really, yeah, yeah, it's just thinking about, everybody is so busy. People have a lot going on, mostly mentally going on, because the brain just never stops with the monkey chatter. So us as
yeah.
business owners have to help ourselves in terms of marketing, and niching is part of marketing, because we gotta make it really, really easy for our potential customers to identify themselves with the product or service that we sell. And even though I, like yourself, I resented niching down, because it was like, no, I'm digging my heels into the sand here. Everybody needs mindset. But then until I studied Business Made Simple and realized why you have to niche down is because you want those people to identify themselves with the problem that you offer the solution to, in order to get custom. And then you can always have a separate course, for example, for a different problem that you solve. So it's really just helping the customer enter into the buying journey to buy from you. That's my stance on niching anyway.
I agree. I have to write things down now because if I don't write them down, it's gone. So if you see me turning my head, I'm writing down because listen, this is exactly it. My, and that was my point. I think when we're niching down, I think the resistances to it is that it feels kind of outside of us. Like, no, my message is this, and everybody needs mindset. Everybody needs to, but if as we can get clearer, because we know clarity wins. If you confuse, you lose. Clarity's going to win every time. But I want to take it a step further from that. So my point about that is if you're able to look at your design and really understand you and how you operate and what things mean to you and what energetically shows up in your chart, then you're able to see the energetics of the person that you're speaking to. And I know that sounds wild, but there are parts in your chart, they're called your nodes, right? If you look at the chart, and I think I sent you yours. There's an image of what is called the body graph, and it's got all these shapes in it that are either shaded in or are not, and they have different numbers on them and whatever. But along the sides of that image are um, the planets, and each planet has a gate that then correlates with the body graph. So it's this wild maze of information. But in that is your energetics of who you're speaking to, the line of people that you're speaking to. And when you are able to take that information and know, you're able to understand who you're speaking to on a different level, on an energetic level.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not only about business owners that are confused and want to spend more time with their family and then want to make more money, because that's obviously all of us.
Yeah, exactly. So niche down
All of
again.
us. Right. But it's really being able to speak to the business owner who is overwhelmed and confused and wanting to spend more time with. their family and wanting to make more money, and the understanding of them on the energetic level. And
Mhm.
so it's like that's why for me in my situation, I am my niche. This is a lot of, human design jargon, and I know it can get really overwhelming with that stuff. So I don't want to confuse. But our design is made up of many different numbers. And in those numbers that I was telling you about, mine are third line individuals. And I understand the energetics of third line because I too am a third line person. So it matches with what's in my design. So when I say I am my niche, I literally am my niche in
Yeah.
the sense that I'm speaking to individuals that are like me. However, you know, my my teacher and my coach, when she talks about her human design, she is not necessarily her niche. The energetics of who she's speaking to is different than the numbers that make up her design.
Mm.
So, but it doesn't mean she understands them any less because she understands the attributes that go along with each line number. But it just gives you an idea that we're all kind of different. But we all have similar wants and desires. However, there's an energetic way to magnetize your voice to speak to the people by knowing your human design. And that's my whole thing. My tagline is know yourself, grow your business. If
Yeah.
you know yourself, if you understand you and your design, but also who you're speaking to energetically, you can magnetize your voice to be able to speak that message
Mhm.
clearly. And
Yeah.
some people that are not into energy may be like, whatever. But there is a frequency that we have as people. When we
That's
speak, we
muted.
have an energetic frequency, right?
Yeah. That's it. That's
And
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, I cut
keep
you off there.
tell me.
Sorry.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
no, I mean, that's
no.
undisputed. It's I mean, it's just so mainstream now. You can't deny that everything is energetic. Everything is frequencies and vibrations, and it really is going to that next level of where you're not just talking to a human being, you're talking to an energetic being. And how can you not manipulate, of course, but how can you more? What is it you could do so that you could resonate more with that person or just open yourself up that, open your own energy up so that you can invite more people in who resonate with you or who you really want to work with or just speaking to them on that different level
Yeah,
rather than because it
yeah,
does set you apart then from everyone else because most people are
yeah,
just doing it on such a surface 3D level of trying to sell more or trying to communicate to people, but we're talking about communication in fifth dimension, really. It's
yeah,
5D
absolutely.
communication, which is a whole nother, level of learning. And, so do you have any
No,
examples?
you're so true.
Do you have any examples maybe of what you would do or what do you maybe put out certain messages that resonate with your human design or when you're trying to speak to those people? Is there certain maybe words or things that you would use in your marketing collateral to speak to
Yeah.
people?
So if I'm speaking to my third line people, I'm going to talk to them about the life of trial and error, of trying things. I refer to it, I've always referred to the existent, like how I participated in life my whole life of basically throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like I was willing to do anything, to try anything, to like for work, let's say. And I knew always that I wasn't, like I, I I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, but I felt like I was seeking. I was looking for it. So I spent a lot of my time when I was in school as working in fine dining. And once I graduated from school, then I decided, okay, I'm stepping into my science brain. So I worked in lab research. I worked in cancer clinical trials. I was a data manager. I sold cars. I I was a baker. I made donut. I became a life coach. I was like I I did hypnosis and past life regression. I mean, I was walking through life looking for the experience and realizing that how like that is me, but then how does that show up in other people that are in business? And there are those of us that are third lines that are like, I've got a business. I have a deep desire to do things, but I've got to keep trying. I've got to keep inventing. I've got to keep going out there and seeing what works. And that's a really wonderful thing because in human design speak, we say that the business is third line, like our entrepreneurship is third line. It's that willingness to go out there and do that. But there are some shadowy sides to that of the squirrel syndrome of chasing shiny objects and kind of making sure like always thinking that somebody else knows more and that you're in the energy of constantly trying to figure it out and maybe like not trusting yourself to know. And so when I'm speaking to people with that of assuring them that, like, because there are people that are going to go in, they're going to try business, they're going to find a framework, they're going to be able to double down, do all the research and go. I would say those are probably like one line people, like, or, with single definition, like they don't need to hear anybody's input. They're like getting in there and learning the information and going. And three lines are like hearing what people are saying and they're taking in information, and there's all these things to take into consideration when you're looking at somebody's design, but this could also be how your centers are arranged. Like there's so much information, but if you know yourself, excuse me, if you know yourself and you start to really understand, oh, this is kind of how my brain is working, this is how my body is reacting to things. When these things come up of the chasing shiny objects or not thinking you know enough or feeling like you just need to try new things or bring new things or create new and exciting things. If you know your human design, you can start to recognize that because you have awareness with that.
Yeah.
And because you know yourself more, you're able to maybe just use discernment and start looking at, maybe I need to kind of go down this path a little bit, practice these things before I'm chasing something new or looking for the bigger and the better thing or the people that have just figured it out, because they're very susceptible to, there's so many people having messages out there of just do this, just do that. Like, and some people can get caught in that and then they're just doing all of it. And you're not able to really know what does work for you and for your business.
Mhm. Yeah. And then people probably then beat themselves up, for like
Absolutely.
chasing the shiny object and maybe just chasing their tails, going in circles, not really knowing where they're going, not really getting to that level of achievement that they want because they're not understanding that there's a human design behind this and this is why they act the way they
Yeah.
do because it's, part of their programming. And, a lot of people then maybe compare themselves when they see other people online and think, well, why is he or she more successful? Why do wh-
Yeah.
why can I not get it, but they can? So I would imagine it would relieve a lot of frustration, like you says, awareness of what your design is, so that you can work with that and you can discern, you can, you know, be more aware of why you're acting and maybe thinking a certain way so that you can either just let it be and just accept it is as it is, or
Yeah,
you can do something about it. It just empowers the individual more, doesn't it? To,
it does.
do something with it if they want, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I think that's exactly right. I think knowing yourself knowing your energetics, knowing who you're speaking to, like, and you may not 100% know it, but a willingness to kind of go into it and stop using these experiences that you've had against yourself. And that was a big lesson for me. I used to have all these ideas that I've done so many things. Why can't I stick to one thing? And I would use that against myself. I would think that that was something that was wrong with me. And then I realized through human design that no, this is exactly how it was supposed to happen, that I was to take all of that information that I've learned and go through it and learn how to pull the lessons out of each of those things so that I can share that with people so they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Because my people that need to hear me may not need to do it. They just want to know the outcome that I was able to get from that so that they don't have to go through it. They can feel like they also had the lived experience. Then there's going to be others that are like, that's not good enough. I need to do it. I need to go make the mistake so I can extract the information from that. But
Yes.
we're all going to have different energetics around that,
Yeah.
And so some of us have to. We're experiential. We've got to go through the experience to extract the lessons. We've got, the need to struggle through things to find value in the outcome because we can't just have somebody tell us. By the way, nothing's wrong with that. We see somebody running into walls, making mistakes, falling down, getting doing things, and it's like, why won't they just learn? And the fact is that they are learning. They're learning their energetics and
Yeah.
what makes sense to them.
Yeah.
They're extracting lessons that they need to so that things make sense to them on a bigger level.
It's so deep, isn't it? It goes really, really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just no one really talking about it. Not many people I've ever heard of talking about this when it comes to business. It's so important because we're working with other people. When you're a business, you need human beings to buy your products and services. So,
That's right.
the more you know yourself, then the more you can, like you says, use it to your advantage and also appreciate other people for just who they are instead of maybe
Yeah.
trying to get them to change or getting frustrated that they're not like you or whatever. It's just awareness, isn't it? And
Yeah.
just and like I said, I think it really empowers an individual as a business owner to, do what they want with it, whether they do something, but the awareness
Yeah.
is key.
Yeah. You don't have to, like, that's the thing. Like, there are going to be some people that hear, like, and believe you me, I was one of those people that I heard about human design. I'm like, it's so complicated. Like, I don't even understand it. I don't even get it. The first time I heard about it, I was like, human design, whatever.
Yeah.
And somebody shared it with me, and I was like, that makes no sense to me that you're giving me a name. There's numbers. I don't get it. I looked at the body graph. I'm like, it's so confusing. And then later on, somebody introduced it to me again, and I was like, okay, I that doesn't really resonate with me. Well, come to find out, I had given the wrong birth time. And so when it didn't resonate with me, I'm like, maybe that's it. So I'll look at it. And then I did it again. I was like, I'll look into it. And also from my first teacher, I realized I had her book in my Kindle that because I'm an author. My book is not published anymore. I took it off of Amazon, but I wrote a book a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And yeah.
Didn't know that.
Did I not tell you that? Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I'm in the process of coming up with an idea of writing another one that I will put back up and publish. But I pulled it because it just didn't energetically match with me anymore.
right.
But she was in a book program, the same book program as and we I finished in the cohort right before her. So when her book came out, I'm like, "Oh, I'll grab it. I know about human design, but I'm not really that interested." Well, I read her book and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so interested." And like I contacted her and she ended up being my first teacher. and I went through her certification process, and it was awesome and intense and wonderful. But that realization of learning about me, I remember sitting at the dinner table, I was out with friends, and I just started crying. And they're like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, I just all of a sudden feel like I'm making sense to myself, that I never there was things about me that I had a lot of shame about or a lot of fear about or anger or whatever, and it's all in my design, and it's all exactly perfect.
Mhm.
And there's it's just here for me to learn from. That's it. Like, I now make sense to myself a little bit more. And
Yeah,
it was just such a huge realization. And so taking that and putting that into business,
yeah,
because now, like where I am, and then teaching other people to take that and put it into their business. That's my goal, because this is human design. Understanding human design, I really feel, is the fastest way to building your business, to energetically building you and then building the business that you want to have, because you make sense to you. You know who you're speaking to. You start the energy, and you're speaking a frequency,
mm,
and that resonance, it starts to speak. But then you also understand, different areas of your charts, how to use your voice in and how to use your message and how to speak in sales and get really good. Because when we have conviction about what it is that we do, because we energetically really align with it. When we have that conviction about what it is that we're doing, why wouldn't we want to share that with people? Why wouldn't we want to get on board? There's no sleaziness in the sales. There's no nothing that's like, I've figured out the thing. Let me share this with you. And if you're right for this, sign up. If you're not, that's okay too.
yeah,
I want to speak to people that want to buy, and that's it.
yeah. Because
Like
that's
if I had a
exactly.
pizza, if I had a restaurant and I'm like, you want pizza? I got pizza for you. Come join come have dinner at my restaurant. Like, I'm not gonna not tell you that I'm in business or not try and sell you pizza if you're into pizza,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So it's no different in what we're doing. But we've
yeah.
got to really lock into the understanding of who we are and what we're doing and who we're speaking to and how to speak to them.
Yeah, I mean, but you wrapped that up. You summed it up perfectly when you said there really what human design is and why it's important is because it helps you understand yourself, build the business you want, and resonate with the people who need your product or service, who will walk away not feeling as if you have been sleazy. It's the opposite of being sleazy because you're not out just to get the sale, 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 sale. Don't care what the
Right.
aftermath is. Don't care what way you're left. Don't care if you get anything out of it. I just want the sale. I want the commission. That's the sleaziness that we really, really resent. Where when you know your human design and you're more in touch with yourself and the purpose of your business, you genuinely want to help those people. Yes, in exchange for money. But like a pizza shop does not give away pizza because it genuinely wants to feed people. It's like, no, I gotta make money so that I can keep
Yeah,
making more pizzas, and people can have an
that's right.
experience. So that's what it is. It's about genuinely wanting those people to have their problems resolved and but to have an experience about it, that it's really touched their lives in some way, it's really meaningful to them, and it just leaves an impression on that person's life, no matter how big or small your product or service is, doesn't matter. It's just that
Yeah.
you're coming with that energy of genuinely wanting to help and genuinely wanting to be just a good business person who does business with integrity. And
Yeah.
human design is the perfect tool to help you start that, get the starting
I
process,
couldn't agree more.
you know,
Yes.
finding out who you are, first of all, as a business person, as a human being. Who are you before you continue on down this path of, just throwing spaghetti at the wall, like you said, or, you know.
That's right.
So, yeah.
That's right. I love it. Well, so I know because we've talked about this, but I have a new podcast that I put out that's on Apple and Spotify, and I would love it. I'm gonna put this episode on my podcast because I think it's
Right.
such a great conversation
Yeah.
between us. It shows the energetics of, business and human design.
Yeah.
And yeah. So my podcast name, by the way, is The Liz Foreman Show
Woohoo! I
on
love it. It's
Spotify.
so official. Liz
So
Foreman.
official. I know. But yeah, and that's been something that I stepped into, knowing my design.
Yeah.
And that was really new for me. Oh my gosh, I have an episode about this, and I know we're gonna wrap it up, but I will say I have an episode that's coming up that's about not using your design against you, of not looking at your design and excusing behavior away.
Yeah.
And I'll just say that I did that, and I'll talk about it, but I used my design against me by saying, "Oh, well, I'm not really meant to do that because I don't have this." And podcasting was one of those things that I let be. Like, I was like, "Well, I don't have a defined throat center, so I can't," and I know this is jargon, but for those of you that understand, I don't have a defined throat center, therefore I don't have consistent energy to my voice. So I really shouldn't be doing a podcast. Like, what? What
So
is
that,
that?
yeah. So that's a classic.
And that's you using your design against you and not taking action, but getting up in your head.
Yeah.
And so that's goal of, like, helping people, helping business owners understand their design, not use it against them,
Mhm.
but understand your design to really magnify that energy that you have and put it out there in the ways that work for you and speak to your people and resonate with your people to
Y-
make more money,
Yeah.
because this is the fastest way to building a business that's energetically set up for you. And if you're aligned with it, that's exactly what you want to do, is build your business.
Yeah. So
Like, and you
alignment. Yeah. It's being in alignment with
absolutely.
when your business and, attracting the right people and who you want to work with. So just quickly before we do wrap up, for anyone who's never heard of human design, how you get your human design chart read is you need your place of birth, your date of birth, and your time of
Yes,
birth.
so you on my website, I have a business summary that I do that offers also a chart, but it really is about, um mine is focused on business, right? But, uh, in order to get that, you would need your birth date, your birth time, and if you don't know the exact time, there are ways to figure it out, but best to ask
Mhm.
if that's available to you, to ask, your parent or whatever, so that you can have at least the roughest estimate, maybe not down to the minute, but whatever. And the birthplace. And those are important to know, what that kind of energetic imprint was at the time of your birth, but also what it was before the time of your birth.
Mhm.
And that's about, I know that people have a lot of ideas about, like, what that is going to mean. How could that possibly mean anything for our lives now? But this stuff is spot on.
I gotta say, when you actually read my chart out to me and we had that discussion before, it was so bang on. It was crazy. It was so bang
Yeah.
on. I thought, oh my God, when you were saying about because I had a defined throat center, is that what it's called? Defined
Yep.
throat center. And I was,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, I totally get that. And then the things that I would struggle with that came out in the chart, I really do, like, would struggle with stuff like that. So it's absolutely fascinating, and it really is helpful for you to understand more about yourself in terms of business, so that you don't have to do everything. You don't have to be amazing at absolutely everything. You can outsource other, professionals, to do things that you either aren't really good at yourself or you just don't wanna do them. So
Yeah.
again, it's just
Yeah.
knowing yourself more and accepting that that's the way it is, but you can still always make changes, like you said, with yourself. You just pushed yourself out of the comfort zone or that belief. I couldn't have a podcast because I don't have a defined throat center.
That's
Nope,
right.
You can do that because it's
You can.
questions that you're only putting on yourself, you know?
Yeah, and also knowing that things are gonna be hard in business. Business is gonna business. Business is gonna have an energy of its own. But understanding your business and then understanding how you show up in it and realizing that things are gonna be difficult. If it wasn't, then everybody would have a successful business that wanted to be in business,
Yeah.
and everything would be flow like, but we all have things that we need to go through in order to have that successful business. And why not do it with a blueprint of how you're energetically set up to do things so that you have that, it's kind of like a lead in. It's like a catalyst, right? It's like kind of making that reaction happen a little bit faster because you have certain things that you're just going to know
Right. Yeah.
about you and about how you can magnetize your message, who you're speaking to, and what's going to make it easy for you to sell that message.
Okay. Exactly.
So that the people that need to hear it, that want to hear it, that want to make these changes in their lives, so they can hear it,
Yeah.
so they can resonate with that message.
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage everyone listening to go on straight onto your website and get their chart, get a reading of your chart. And then they can always reach out to you anyway if they want that, a
Absolutely.
uh, explanation or, how you can link it up to their business or how they can use that for themselves rather than against themselves in their business. So I would encourage everybody listening to do that. It's free to take the assessment anyway, and then they
Yeah,
can reach out to you through your website
absolutely.
into it, and get your
Yeah, they would go to my website and they put in their information. The report comes directly to them in that moment. So it's right on your computer. You get the chart information, which is the basic information, and then there's a little button that says get your free report. You click on that button and it produces the business summary.
Mhm.
And so it's a summary that kind of goes through the different areas of your human design, that it's like 3 different areas or 4 different areas of your design that speak to your business. But I also have a little bonus with that,
Oh,
and that is, a free masterclass that goes along with it that says, "Okay, you got your report, now what? Like, what do you do with this?" And so it's even more information, and it goes
yeah.
into the information even more. So,
Now,
yeah, there's
what's
yeah,
not to love about that? Come on, get
mhm,
on it.
I know it. I know it.
All
I
right.
know. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, we're gonna keep I think I love talking about this kind of stuff, and we will talk more, I think, about the human design, and
Oh, for
we
sure.
can get deeper into things, and you're more than welcome to share, some of the things that came out of mine. I'm happy to take one for the team.
Yes, I would love us to have another conversation and go deeper into how to do this around the energetics of it and use your design. We can use both of our designs and talk
Yeah,
about what's the difference? How does it show up for you and how does it show up for me? So people can see that there is a difference and what that might look like. It might be minor, it might be huge. We don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, because it's good because, obviously we're given some of the theory behind human design, but I think it's also important to give examples of how that would work in real life. So if you want to use, like you says, we'll chat about both of our human designs and what has came out and what that would mean. I can certainly offer that as an example of what that has practically meant in my life and my business, whatever you read out of my chart. And that
Yeah.
just offer examples just to people listening so they can go, "Oh, yeah, that's what that means then," you know?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
But I know we've gotta tie it up now because we just wanted to fit this conversation in as we could to get people's minds turning, those wheels turning, I
Yeah.
mean.
Get the
Not the minds
conversation
turning, but the
going.
wheels turning.
Yeah. So we're definitely come back with more on this anyway.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll
I
not
can't wait.
until we do.
This
Yeah,
is always a joy.
I
I love
know.
our
It is.
conversations.
Me
I'm
too.
so happy we got to do this.
Me
So,
too. Me too, my friend. Okay,
all right.
well, I
Thank
will
you,
see
my
you
friend.
very soon. Bye.
I'll see you soon.